Good morning, Year 6. Today I'm going to remind you of some of our strategies for multiplying and dividing fractions. We're going to start off with the multiplying fractions. You might have a question that asks you to multiply a fraction by another fraction. And so when we do this, we're going to start with the numerators. So the numerators are 2 and 1, so 2 times 1. And then we're going to do the denominators, which is 3 times 8. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2. And 3 times 8 is 24. Now you need to think about whether it needs to be simplified or converted into a mixed number. Now this can be simplified because I know that 2 goes into both of those numbers. So I can simplify 2 over 24 into 1/12. Now here's another example. We're going to start by multiplying the numerators. 4 times 1. And then we're going to multiply the denominators. 5 multiplied by 3. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. I can't simplify that, so we're going to leave it as it is. Okay, so another question you might get asked is to multiply a fraction by a whole number. In this instance, what you need to do is make the whole number into a fraction by placing it on top of a denominator of 1. And then it's back to doing what we did up here, multiplying the numerators first. So we've got 4 times 3. And then the denominators would be 10 multiplied by 1. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. 10 multiplied by 1 is 10. Again, I need to think about whether I can simplify this or make it into a mixed number. Because it's the numerator is larger than the denominator, I know that I can make it into a mixed number. So how many 10s goes into 12? We know that's 1. 1 whole. With 2 remaining, and then my denominator stays the same. However, I could go even further than this because that fraction there can be simplified even more into 1 and 1/5. Okay, I'm just going to do this one again. We put the whole number over a denominator of 1, and then I can start by multiplying the numerators and then the denominator. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, there we go. There's another improper fraction that needs to be made into a mixed number. So how many times does 5 go into 8? It goes once with 3 remaining, and my denominator is always the same. So 1 3/5. Okay, my final one I'm going to show you is that you might get asked a question to multiply 2 mixed numbers together, or a fraction and 1 mixed number. And in this case, you need to convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions, and then we can start multiplying together. So we'll start with this one. So to work that out, I'm going to do 2 times 2, which is 4, and add my numerator, which is 5. So my numerator is 5, and remember the denominator always stays the same. Excellent. So I'm going to do the same with this one. 4 times 1 is 4, add 1 is 5. So my numerator is 5, and remember again, the denominator always stays the same. Okay, excellent. So now my new calculation is 5 over 2 multiplied by 5 over 4. I'm going to start with my numerators, which is 5 multiplied by 5, and then do my denominators, 2 multiplied by 4. So we've got 25 over 8. Again, that is an improper fraction, so we need to make sure it is turned into a mixed number. So work out how many 8s go into 25. It goes in 3 times, because 8 times 3 is 24, which means we have 1 remaining, and then the denominator always stays the same. Okay, so now we're going to move on to dividing fractions. You probably remember the rhyme that will help you with this calculation. We've got leave me, change me, turn me over. Now you might have a slightly different variation to this rhyme, however, they do the same job. So we're going to start with a fraction divided by a fraction. So we've got 4/5 divided by 1/3. We're going to leave the first fraction we are going to change the calculation from divide to multiply, and then we're going to turn this fraction over or upside down. And now we can do this as we normally would. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. And 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. So we now need to make that into a mixed number. So we need to work out how many times 5 goes into 12, which is 2, with 2 remaining. And then remember, the denominator stays the same. Now we're going to try a fraction divided by a whole number. Again, like last time, you need to make the whole number into a fraction by placing it on top of a denominator of 1. Now we can use the rhyme. We're going to leave the first fraction. We're going to change the calculation from divide to multiply, and then we're going to turn this fraction over or upside down into what would look like a half. Now we can multiply. So we've got 2 multiplied by 1 would give me the numerator of 2. And 7 multiplied by 2 is 14. Now we can simplify that into 1/7. So 2/7 divided by 2, 1/7. Now my last one we're going to look at is a whole number divided by a fraction. So we've got 6 divided by 1/8. We're going to make that whole number into a fraction by placing on top of a denominator of 1 again. Remember the rhyme, we're going to leave the first fraction. We're going to change the division into a multiplication calculation, and then we're going to swap the 1/8, turn it upside down or turn it over into 8/1. Okay, so now we can multiply our numerators together. So it would be 6 times 8, which is 48. And then 1 times 1, which is easy, 1. Now, obviously that is a improper fraction, but also it's a really easy mixed number to create because it's just 48 divided by 1, which is 48. So 6 divided by 1/8 gives you 48. And there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. If you are struggling, please email us and we will help you as much as we can. Bye!